Good evening. This is the Michael Muse Show, the Overcomer Coach, the author of Rise and Burn. And today we are going to be talking about relationships up close and personal. When it comes to relationships, everyone has their own opinions, everyone has their own perspectives. But the one thing we know is true. When it comes to the quality of relationships and being in relationships, there's issues that blame goes from men to women, women to men, and we're just going to talk about some core issues that's going on. I know for me, I can honestly say from experience, I have made my fair mistake, more than my fair share of mistakes, and I'm honest enough to be transparent and say, hey, if I could go back in time, I wish I could have said the right things, done the right things, and been humble enough to fight for love and fight for just being right and moving forward. But you know what? We want to talk about some things tonight. We're going to be talking about trust and commitment. And definitely, I want to start with these two superstar women right here. Let me start with Miss Thais Doramus. She is when it comes to relationships, she truly has the 411 in the city of Detroit. She truly is the person. All her friends go to her to get the advice they're looking for, and so she is definitely a person, a thought leader in her area. And Michelle Roberts, how you doing this evening?
Awesome.
You are. Hey, I've been following you for a while, and you are an author, a relationship strategist. So you know what? I'm looking to learn from you, to share some tips that can help not only help me but help everybody else out. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting your input, getting your insight, and definitely sharing some great nuggets with our viewers tonight. And last but not least, Mr. DeVortre Murray, the author of the up-and-coming book, What Women Want from Real Men. And that topic all in itself, that's a movie, that's a play, that right there is a great thing. So definitely, I want to just give each of you each of you to give a quick 10, 20 seconds about yourselves and when it comes to relationships. I'm going to start with you first, Thais, and just share for a quick 10, 30 seconds about relationships.
Well, relationships are definitely a two-way street. They're never a one-way street. And I can tell you one thing, you can never say, and this is a actual quote of mine, you can never say, well, Michael, you were saying earlier, and hindsight is always 20/20. We can always do better. However, you can never say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can never say the right thing to the wrong person. So, again, relationships are a two-way street, and you need someone that is compatible with you. People say opposites attract. Well, opposites don't even match. They may attract, but they definitely don't match. So it's something about compatibility, having the same interests, having the same likes, having good understanding and compatibility that works, and good continuity. You have to be conscientious, and you have to be willing to expose yourself, to communicate well, and to be humble.
Absolutely.
And not to be afraid to be apologetic if necessary. Just like we should ask for forgiveness every day with the Father. If you believe in God, if you believe in God and Elohim, if you believe in Him, how we ask for forgiveness on certain things, I do it every day because I know that I'm imperfect. But some people, how they do it when they feel it's necessary, well, you need to ask for forgiveness from that individual when it's necessary. Even if you don't feel so yourself, if another person feels as if you have done something to them, and I've gone over 30 seconds, so I'm getting ready to wrap it up. But if you've offended anyone, common courtesy is to acknowledge that. To acknowledge it is the first road to repair. And to acknowledge someone else's feelings means that you understand yourself, because then to know someone else is to know yourself. And I'm going to say that's the end that I have to say for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you, Michelle?
I am a dating strategist, and before we can even get to the relationship, we got to get to know each other. So, I always like to take people back to the dating process. Dating is defined as a process where two people meet socially for companionship, okay? And it's beyond the level of friendship, okay? So first of all, we have to establish if there is any type of camaraderie there. We can't go straight from I meet you today and now we in a relationship, Wait a minute. I don't even know if I like you. You don't even know my middle name. There are steps to it, Now you met people that just don't went all in straight up, oh my God, I like you, let me take you to my I want you to meet my mama. I don't want to meet your mama. Let's start off with the basics. Let me get to know you. Let me see if we have the same goals, the same morals, the same values, if I'm really vibing with you. Okay, and then from that process, we take it into a relationship, and then I've got to ask you questions. Are we going to be exclusive? Okay, what type of relationship is it? Are we dating for a purpose, or are you playing? Because some people want to play. You ain't going to play with Michelle, but some people do want to play. And if you want to play, I just want to know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Absolutely. But definitely want to thank the viewers that's already joining us tonight. Valerie Washington and Rodney Pearson, thank you for coming on tonight. And Mr. Vortre McMurray, your turn.
Well, first of all, Mike, thanks for having me on your show. And it's a pleasure to be here with you beautiful ladies tonight.
Yes.
When I talk about relationships,
charismatic, I love it.
You can tell me some more about that. I'm listening.
Yeah. And just dealing with the whole relationship issue. What my book is what real women want from real men. So what we have to do before we can expound on that subject and delve into that subject, we have to define what a real man is and a real woman, what she is. And so it's from that premise we're able to go and determine what it is we're pursuing in a relationship. When you speak to relationships, if you're talking about growing, I think what happened initially, and I'm sorry, what happens initially in a relationship, it was just a lot of distraction. Is you have to, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Okay. Somebody's got kids. All right, which is a good thing. Anyway, getting back to the relationship thing. Listen, we're going to get into it tonight. I understand we're getting ready to get into it tonight, but all I'm really saying is before we start to really dive into relationships, you have to understand several things before we get into it. You have to understand that, are we pursuing a relationship? Are we pursuing an understanding as to where we would like to go in this relationship? Because Michelle, as you say, some guys will want to introduce you to their mom immediately off the bat, right? Well, that's not a bad thing. If a man wants to introduce you, if a man wants to introduce you to his mother, that's not a bad thing. It only means that he sees value in you, and that redeeming value, he's sure that his mom will see the same value in you. So he thinks highly enough of you to introduce you. But I will acknowledge that sometimes it's just not time for that.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, so we're going to dive into it, but we need to be really honest about this subject, because I don't like talking about surface conversations. Tonight we're going to dive into it. Michael already knows where we're going.
Absolutely.
We're going to dive.
Well, Skeeter,
so I'm just asking,
Mr. Murray,
ladies ready?
But before you say that, and Michelle, just to piggyback on, because I think where you're going, I think there are some foundational. You have to have a foundation before you begin any relationship, and the foundation is, I think people move too fast. They pull the cart before the horse, and they don't take time to get to know each other. You have to, in order to have compatibility, you have to know what it is, because you can't have compatibility without understanding, without knowledge, without a discussion. So you have to have a foundation laid. You should not be expressing yourselves as a real man or a real woman to someone in the way as if you know them and you really don't. So I'm trying to keep it clean. So you should not be doing things with people that you have not known well enough or long enough, or have not experienced, and have circumstances, situations to determine whether or not this is a person that is worthy of you, and that they are, and you're worthy of them, because it's a two-way street. Bottom line.
That's right. That's right. You know what, Thais? What's real important? Let's start with the one thing that people need to recognize very first when they meet someone. Are they meeting a real man, and are they meeting a real woman? And let's be honest about, when we look at the TV images and the stereotypes, when we look at a lot of these reality shows, those are not the images that truly portray the images of a strong family structure. It doesn't portray an image of the loving, the love that needs to be in a relationship for the long-term longevity. And so that's the reason what makes you three so special. Because see, one thing about, we all need to, everyone who's listening, I need to understand. Let's look what a real man is first. And we know the basics for the most part. If we grew up in the 70s and the 60s, we already know, for the most part, we saw a mother and a father. We saw parents raising up. We had friends who had parents in the house with them. Well, now, here it is, 2016. These young kids who are they are totally missing the whole foundation, where they do not see a family structure. And to a large degree, they don't respect family structure. Because anytime women can run around and say, hey, I don't need a man, I'm educated, I'm smart, and I'm achieving things, and I'm doing this on my own. Oh, what about the basic instinct and the basic principle of being a woman? That, the basic principle of being a womanhood, of being a love and being a mother. Michelle, can you hear me? Michelle?
Okay, I'm sorry. I had you on mute. They're hiding behind that, Michael. You see what I'm saying?
They're hiding behind it.
They do want love. They do want all that stuff, but when they're not getting it, and they're hiding behind it, they're gonna hide behind, well, I'm progressing, I'm in school. Well,
Michelle,
you know what I'm saying? They lie.
Michelle, so would you say they don't know because they don't know what a real man is, or a real woman is?
I'm going to say that they have not experienced the right type of man to treat them in such a way that they can accept a real man when it comes to them, And then so sometimes some men, even if it's a real man, sometimes they don't want to wade through all of that hurt. They don't want to wade through those walls. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if they really like that woman, they will. They'll go through the walls. They'll go through all of that. But sometimes, a woman meets a great guy. They can't recognize it because they've met so much shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. They've met so much. They've met so much mess, and they have accepted so much mess. They've allowed it into their lives that when they see the real thing, it's unbelievable.
But Michelle, I'm glad you said. But Michelle, hold on, Michelle, you made a good point there. You know what? I truly believe, and you're right. And that goes on both ends. A lot of women have dealt with a lot of hurt and dealt with a lot of junk. But let me say this, though. When they've come across that junk and they've dealt with it and they've experienced it, let me ask you this, then. Why is it so many women, they will go from one relationship into the next, and they carry the same baggage, the same hurt, the same disappointment. And then when they do come across a guy who's trying to give his all, who's trying to be the Prince Charming, who's trying to be understanding, she's still holding on to what Tyrone did too. She's still holding on. Yes.
Can I interject on that? Because I think that, like I said, it's never one-sided. Never one-sided. Typically, women, first of all, we got to go by, women typically are attracted by what they hear. Men are typically attracted by what they see. Women, if a man is doing everything that she has ever dreamed of and she's not satisfied, it's because she doesn't like that man. He's doing some right things, but it's not the person that she wants it from. So we have to recognize sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with people liking what they like or not liking what they like. They just need to be honest and upfront about it.
And you know what, Thais? But you know what, though, Thais? What you're saying there is, I think a lot of women go into a relationship with the false expectations. They go in with the false hope, and they poorly communicate what they want and what they expect from the man that they're talking to and dealing with. Because it's too many times.
I don't think they poorly communicate. They don't believe when y'all say, "Oh, we just gonna be friends." They think that cookie is so good and that they're so good that they're gonna convince you to change your mind. But you already told them in the beginning, "I only want to be friends." Okay,
exactly.
You meet a guy and he say, "Oh, I'm not gonna ever get married."
But some unethical activity had to occur for us not to believe it, because at some point in our lives we fell for it. We just don't be friends, and we fell for it and we allowed it. So we can't.
How long are you supposed to fall for it though?
I don't put the whole thing on the man, but
comes in maturity. It comes with maturity. Comes with maturity.
No, realizing that when a man tells you something, you need to believe it. Like Maya Angelou say, when somebody shows you who they are, believe it. If you told me, Michelle, all I want to do is be friends, I'm going to believe that. And I'm going to go on and I'm going to be dating. And you and me say, why are you dating everybody? You told me we only wanted to be friends. I had to learn that, though, because I thought, I think I'm pretty cute, got some hips and curves and all that.
You all that in the bag of chips, girl.
You know what, man? You better say it one more time. Anyway, but I had to realize, though, when a man says something to see a woman, I'm led by emotion. So what you saying is good. You smelling good. You looking good. You don't told me that. I'm like, oh, he just saying that. A man gonna tell you. If he tell you y'all only friends.
Let's hear for this man Divorce right now. Go ahead, Divorce.
Well, I mean, listen, if a man tells you he only wants to be friends, then like 9 times out of 10.
That's true.
That means that. Absolutely. It's true. He only wants to be friends. Now, if a man is telling you he only wants to be friends and he's not trying to develop a relationship, I think you need to listen. Exactly. I think you need to hear him. Like you said earlier, don't think your cooking gonna persuade him. Don't even think your cooking is gonna persuade him.
As if they cook.
Let me try and define what a real man is.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to try, because we've got to have realistic expectations for ourselves in these relationships. Everybody has to have a realistic position as to where they are in their life. Okay, see, I hear a lot of women talking about, I'm good, I don't need this man, I'm good, I'm going to wait until I find somebody. Well, let's be realistic about this. You are depending on where you are in your life, you have to be honest with yourself. For instance, you can't say, I'm waiting on, and I'm not trying to be cruel, you can't say I'm waiting on a millionaire or an athlete or a professional athlete of any kind, boo. If you are, and I hate to say it, wait, if you're not
even athletic,
wait. If you are not athlete attractive, then you need to take that requirement off the table. Take that right off the table. And
that's right.
Let's go back down, take it down, dial that down to the next stage, because I believe there's a realistic thing that a woman gets to a realistic stage when it comes to the man. There is a unrealistic stage, and then there is that fantasy stage.
That's right.
That's Boo Boo, who's waiting on an athlete who's not athlete attractive.
That's right.
And we got one. I'm living in the project, waiting on a millionaire, and you live in the project.
You're not even
You're not
even running in that type of atmosphere to meet that type of
guy. You can live
That's right.
in the project, but you still have to be someone capable of coming out of the projects. Now, if I take you around my multi-millionaire friends,
that's right.
You have to be able to carry yourself. When I leave the table, or if I leave the little gathering and I walk over here to meet someone else, if you're representing me, boo-boo, you need to be able to handle yourself, talk to these people, and when I come back, you're looking at me like, you got one. You got one, son. You got one, right? Queen, talk about I'm waiting on LeBron. Well, you know what? That's going to be a long way. That's going to be a long way. So I think we need to be realistic. But what a real man tries to do, he tries to evaluate the woman that he's with. And ladies, y'all think that all we care about is what we see. Sometimes, yeah, the attractive part plays a part, but who you are, what your spirit is, I mean, where you're going in life, do you really care? See, a man, when he starts looking at a wife, all he looks at, if he respects his mother, he looks at his mother. He wants a woman with those qualities that he can sleep with. He wants a mother he can... And if you don't have that nurturing spirit, if you don't have that spirit that's about helping, communicating with him, and genuinely caring about his well-being, then he takes that into consideration. He might just tell you whatever he needs to tell you to get whatever he wants to get. That might be his agenda. But a real man will come at you and lay the truth out for you. And now, if you're carrying baggage, that's not his issue to deal with.
Wait a minute.
That's just his decision.
And that's right.
Whether or not he wants to deal with it.
And ladies, and for the audience, definitely, when it comes to a real man, and one thing, let's be honest about one thing. When it comes to a real man, when he sees a woman and he evaluates her, income is not the first thing. Now I'm being honest. Now, when it comes to looks, don't get me wrong. A woman does have to be visually attractive to him. But once you get past that basic right there, he's looking for someone who's going to be supportive. He's looking for someone who's going to be there to build his confidence up. He's looking for someone who's going to be able to sit at the table and we can work together and we can build an empire together. Now, I'm not talking about the empire on TV. I'm not talking about the Cookie and Lucius Lyon empire. That's a dysfunctional empire, not that type of empire. But a real empire that, when you leave an inheritance behind, and it's not just money, but it's character, having a DNA of character. So knowing that, let's get into the deep thing that's breaking relationships up. When it comes to relationship, what's the biggest thing? We already know it's infidelity. Everybody is blaming everybody. When it comes to women, a lot of women say, "Hey, all men are dogs. All men are this." And let's look at some of the reasons why behind. Let's start with the women. Let's look at some of the reasons that women cheat, because I believe there's two types of women who cheat, and I truly believe the types of women who cheat are the women who they do it because they're just being vindictive because it's happening to them. And I believe the other group, they just what they are. They skanks, and they've been so hurt in past relationships that they just gonna do what they do. That's how they protect themselves.
Well,
I think there are different reasons why women cheat, but no, Ty, I will allow you to go next.
Thank you, Mr. McMurray. I appreciate you. I gotta just make a couple of statements. I was having a conversation with someone a little while ago, and they made a statement that was quite profound. In today's society, we have a lot of men who are being raised by single-parented mothers, and it's impossible for a man to develop and know what a man is without having that example. We all need examples, whether it's how to live right, how to eat healthy. We all need examples. So especially when we're having difficulty with something, sometimes we as human beings need to know what it looks like. So it's impossible for men who have been raised by women not to have emotions like women and just give up. Women are emotional people, and women cheat just like the same reason why men cheat. A lack of knowledge, a lack of emptiness, a lack of self-confidence, not having self-worth, whatever it is, it's going to fall up under an umbrella of negativity and destruction. So we all do what's not best for us because we don't know the right thing to do, or haven't developed the skill or the proprietary factor that we need to have to put the impetus by that and make it happen for ourselves. So we cheat just like the next person cheats because we are not being self-fulfilled. So we think, but that's still a lack of maturity.
And you know what, Thais? I'm glad you said it. You know what? Let me ask you a question, kind of piggyback on what you said.
But let me share, before you say that, let me share this, because I have experienced, I think, what a real man is. It's when you, I shared this with a man some time ago, and I said, women sometimes will run up on a man because she feels like he's not giving her what she needs emotionally. It's not all about the finances. Because if she running up on him, she like him. She want him to respond. Now, I'm not saying condoning her running up on him. But we women, we know we can't beat him. We can't tackle him down. So we run up on him, screaming and yelling at him, trying to get his attention. Now, a man that is weak in his character and does not recognize that he is a man, and here is this weaker vessel, this woman coming up to him like this, and he don't go back and take and look and say, If he come off at her like this, like she going at him, it's a big fight, because she's not going to allow, because she's feeling threatened. She don't know if he going to hit her. So she's saying, I'm going to get mine in first before you get yours. Now, a real man would say, baby, we not doing that. Now, if you want to calm down, we can talk, because I want to listen to you. I want to understand you, but I can't understand you like that. And if she even says something that may not be favorable to him, as a woman, we hear stuff that's not favorable to us. We want to cry and cuss and fall out, and we might not even want to kiss you tomorrow. Might be like, I don't even want to kiss you.
So,
but a real man, because a real man is a leader. He's supposed to lead the relationship. And I
got a question for you two ladies. I got a question for you two ladies. When it comes to cheating, there's two types. And of course, one of them takes both of them takes place, but one of them when a man cheats, it's obvious with a man. He doesn't have to be emotionally tied into a woman. It could just be just a stress outlet for him. He could not give one. He could not care. He could not have a care in the world and do what he do and go on with his life carefree. Now,
but Mike, but that's not why he cheats.
Because he's unhappy. Because he's unhappy at home.
Let's break down why a man cheats. Yeah, I mean, we really have to. We just can't say all men cheat, because all men don't cheat.
Thank you.
And I know that might be shocking to a lot of women, but all men don't cheat. And so I don't know what the percentage of those men are, but listen, anybody who cheats in a relationship, it feels to themselves that they're being driven to that point. Now, whatever that issue is, whether it's insecurities, or whether they feel like they've been violated, or they feel like they've been cheated on, or whatever the force is, the issue that drives them to cheat, they feel like they're justified in doing so. But you have to understand why men cheat. And this is my experience. I can't speak for every man. Ladies, when you stop affectionately showing your man the affection that you showed him maybe a long time ago, affection-wise, when you stop supporting him, when you stop believing in him, when you stop encouraging him, when you start nagging him, when you start complaining, see, no one will ever know the power of a nag. Okay? That is powerful. And so I'm not just saying that's the reason why a man cheats, but why a man cheats is because of these reasons. He feels like his woman no longer feels affectionate toward him. He feels like his woman sexually is not fulfilling him like she could be.
Let her go. Let her go. Don't cheat. Let her go.
It's the same way with women. Women cheat for that exact same reason: lack of affection, lack of attention.
No.
But that's not. I agree.
No.
That's not a validation, though. That's not a validation. That's not.
I didn't say it was. I never said it was. I'm just talking about why men cheat.
A real man would not allow someone else to control his actions, and a real woman is not going to allow someone else's actions to control theirs. They're still going to do what is right, what is ethical, and what is best. And
you know what?
But we're talking about, though, the point is, why do they cheat? Not a real man wouldn't. Why do they cheat? And the symptoms of that and the reason behind why men and women cheat. That's what we're addressing right now. Now, when we get back to a real man and a real woman, what our responsibilities, obligations are, and things of that nature, then I understand. I agree with you 100%, Ty. But why do people cheat? That's what we really need to be honest and
well, I think
forthright.
I gotta disagree with you as far as why women cheat. Generally, a woman cheats out of revenge or neglect.
Ooh, out.
Well, isn't that what I said?
No,
neglect is lack of attention. Well, I did. I said lack of attention, lack of affection.
Yeah,
that's neglect.
He said that, Michelle.
Okay.
He said
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah, remember? He said it. So
I gotta give you that one. But generally, it's more revenge. It's because I mean, when we cheat, it's a soul tie. It's emotional for us.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not because I saw you so fine and whatever. I mean, I'm not moved by that. I'm moved because you've talked to me. You've been listening to me. I have been talking to you and telling you how my husband has been, our ex-husband, our boyfriend has been doing to me, or I want to get back at him because he has done this to me. And you are the perfect target. You've been liking me anyway. And I know that, I wouldn't have gave you the time of day probably if he hadn't done this.
Well, you know what?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Yeah, my question for you, two ladies, is this.
That's true, as in why? I mean, I can't dispute.
It's all
that's
it's
your
all
reasoning.
It's all revenge because it's all vengeful. It's all vengeful.
It's all vengeful. Yeah.
So Michelle, Titans, the question is this then.
Some women are.
Which is easier?
Some women.
Hold on, which is easier? If a man has an emotional connection to a woman, is it easier to forgive him having an emotional connection to a woman versus having a sexual contact with a woman? Which one is easier to forgive? I've gotten different answers on that question right there. What's the answer for you?
It depends upon the woman. I can't forgive neither. Because they're both strong connections. You know what I'm saying? You have violated. To me, it's a violation either way.
Yeah.
If you have emotionally poured into that person, and now you got a connection, you got to talk to her about things that you can't even share with me. That's a violation if we're in an exclusive relationship. And if you have given her my stuff raw,
it's gonna be some waiting till the tail going.
Michelle, why is it that he can no longer share with you what he once shared with you?
That comes from a woman not being supportive.
Wait. We're talking about the situation. It's something. Okay, well, it's something that's happened. It's some type of disconnect, and whatever that disconnect has happened, either he, she, he, and I, or whatever. We've not got counseling. We've not tried to make it work, or even if we did, it did not work. And now he feels the need to emotionally connect with somebody else. But instead of being a real man, I'm gonna use Miss. Is it Taisha? I don't want to pronounce her name.
Call me T or Taisha, whichever is easier for you.
Okay, T. That's the T. Like T said, he was not a real man to say, this is not what you're giving to me. You know, I need this, that, and the other. Now, if you don't told me A through Z and I don't give it to you, it still ain't no excuse. You need to say I'm gonna go on and leave. Let's call it quit.
Well,
that's not what
that
happened.
might be. So it might just be his strategy.
I don't think
so. He just might be.
It's
like women don't leave. Women never leave a relationship until they've already got something ignited.
That's true.
No, that's men. No. That is not true.
Oh, that's very true.
No,
well, at least that's how.
First of all, we can't make any blanket statements. We can't make any blanket statements because people are individuals and each circumstance and situation is different. However, I don't think there's always grounds because in order, and you know, people like to use the word karma. Karma on every level is something else. So whether it's a lack of forgiveness or an action that you committed. So in order to be forgiven at some point, I need to be able to forgive. And even though I can forgive you, depending on the two individuals and the set of circumstances and the level of remorse or repentance, if you will, want to say I'm not going to do this again, and there is some profound evidence, there's some profound action being taken place by the person who offended to rectify the situation with the person that their mate, to resolve and bring it back together. Because I say once you have loved, you can love again. So it just depends on those two individuals whether or not they have what it takes to overcome, because it's all of it is an overcoming, whether they're able to overcome this situation and still rise to the top like cream because they got some time spent in. That is no different than any other situation. You cussed me out or you threw my clothes. No other situation that happens. It just shows that there was a symptom in the relationship that needed to be addressed and it didn't get addressed. And so now are we willing to address it? It was a problem that we didn't address, and now we need to address it. And are those two people willing to move forward and address it? If they not, then hey, sayonara. I'll meet you on the other side.
Well, listen.
So what? You know what? You can't. So what are some of the steps that need to be taken to grow, to get out of a situation like that? And you said it real clear, Michelle. You already said you're not forgiving, whether it's emotional or the act itself. So, but some people do.
I didn't say I wasn't forgiving. I ain't forgiving. I ain't forgetting. I'm just going to use me as personal example. Okay. I was married for 19 years. Okay. 19 years. Out of that 19-year relationship, my ex-husband got strung out on drugs. Okay. And he had two outside children from two different women. Okay. Out of our relationship, we had 3 children together. Okay. God bless him. He's now free from all of that. He did come back to me. We're divorced now. He said, Michelle, I'm sorry. I said, okay. He said, can we be friends? I said, no. I said, we can be cordial because we have 3 children. So if they have grandchildren, if they get married, you're going to have to be at those type things. And I don't want it to be no kind of animosity. However, a friend, okay, you don't know the meaning of friendship, okay? A friend would not lay down with somebody else and have another baby, not once but twice, okay? A friend would not do certain other things that he did throughout the marriage. Okay, you said you're sorry. Okay, it took me time. I didn't forgive him right away. It took me time, because I hated him. I said it, yes, because I thought he messed up our whole relationship. I did. So it took me time to heal and forgive and to own up to whatever I did, I guess, to help that situation. Okay. The stress or whatever and all this kind of things. And maybe the nagging, like you said, the Bible even talks about a nagging woman will send a man to the rooftop. So once I accepted my part, forgave him of his issues, at this point, all we can do is be cordial. He always say, Michelle, you're the best wife I ever had. I'm the only wife he ever had. Okay. And yes, it's like, we do have to, and because that's
probably why he didn't.
I treat him nice, but sometimes I think he gets twisted because I still treat him nice and cordial. He always thinks it's a chance. I always tell him, I hope your next woman, you've learned you can treat her better. I would never
listen.
go back to him.
Let me say this. I gotta say this.
I can't forget what went on. I can forgive it, but I can't forget it. This is just me personally.
Michelle, because my very best friend, she is, at the time, her and her husband were married 15 years. They've been married now 30 years. And he wound up slip and fell in a well, and wound up when they brought him up, he came up with a woman with two twins.
Two twins. Two sets of twins.
Well, I was about to say 2 kids, but twins.
Okay.
And
that was a deep well.
Yeah. Now they separated for some time. They separated for about 5 years. Now I say they were my stellar couple because it took a huge lady to overcome that. And I tip my hat to her.
God bless them.
And I know that they love each other. And he had gotten on some drugs too, Michelle. Got on some drugs. And had those babies. I think those kids now are like 16 or 17. And she helped raise them.
She a good woman.
And yeah, I'm not going to say that that's what she should have done or that it was the best decision. I think that we all need to develop a sense of accepting someone's apology if they are sincere.
That's the key.
Right,
yeah, absolutely.
And you can always be someone's friend. They just may not be your friend.
Absolutely.
You can always be someone else's friend, but they may not be. And we have plenty of examples of that.
Yeah.
So what you're saying,
go back to the fact that the first time I did forgive him. We went to counseling and all that. When it happened the second time, that was it for me. You know, I'm not only giving you. I forgave you the first time. I said, okay, I'm gonna fight for my family. I'm gonna fight for this because I wasn't raised with my father. So I said, okay, maybe I got some issues. You know, I'm gonna fight for this. But when it happened the second time, no. The second time was a choice. You knew how I felt. You betrayed me not once, and I forgave you. Now you're gonna betray me twice.
But you know what, Michelle? You can forgive him and be friendly towards him because he is sick.
I do.
I
do. I tell my kids all the time. I say, your dad's
someone who continues to repeat the same problem, the same thing, and they keep bruising themselves. Something wrong.
Yeah.
Something wrong somewhere. You know,
but I also had to love myself enough because to me, and I don't tell anybody to leave their marriage. But for me, I believe I stayed too long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, the last 10 years, we were married 19 years, but the last 10 years of our marriage, he was on and off of crack cocaine. So I became an enabler. You know, I had self-esteem issues. These are things I was dealing with. At that particular time, I was over 280 pounds because I had fed my soul with food. I'd had them 3 babies. And I don't know if y'all know about Krispy Kreme, but Krispy Kreme became my friend. So I had some trepidation about, okay, I'm going to be a fat woman with 3 babies. Who's going to want a fat woman with 3 kids? But finally, I made the decision that I'm just going to love me. And if I got to love me, first of all, I had to get healthy. I lost that weight. I lost over 110 pounds. Okay. And
good for you.
And your story is so phenomenal and encouraging, I'm sure, to some, if not many, you know, because it does take a strong woman to, and sometimes that's not the best decision for all, because there have been situations where people take people back and they live forever right off in the sunset. And then there have been some who end up like you. You can never tell. We don't know. We're always taking a chance. And as Maya Angelou said, you should always be willing to love and to love again. You know, we should, and I might be paraphrasing that.
And you know what?
But we should.
This is true.
And you know what, Thais? Let's look at some solutions here. And you know what, Michelle? You truly have an amazing story. I mean, ain't time for 19 years. And to deal with someone who's been on drugs and infidelity that resulted in other kids, you're a truly amazing woman. My hands are up to you, and you know, I give you my props, and I salute you. And you know what that shows? You know what that shows, Michelle? That truly shows the testament of you're a powerful woman of God, because only God could give a person strength to deal and endure a situation like that. So I definitely salute you for being the woman that you are, for loving yourself, and like you say, you lost the weight. And truly, I have seen,
Mike.
I have truly, and I've seen some of your,
Mike.
yes.
You saw my pictures, right? So you know them.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you. You had some pictures showing your before pictures years ago versus now. And if guys, if you see those pictures,
okay,
they're totally different.
Mike, let me stop you guys because, okay, now Michelle, let's be honest here. Mm-hmm. This is about being real, so we have to turn this up a few notches.
Come on with it.
You said your story is a great story because you found love for yourself. You were going through a relationship for all those years, and you were insecure about yourself. You
Not in the beginning. I wasn't, because I was fine in the beginning.
Okay.
But I grew into yes, and when I gained the weight after the kids, and because of the infidelity. Actually, I was fine until the infidelity. Once the infidelity happened, that's when I started questioning what's wrong with me, you know, and looking at, you know, oh my God, you know, that's when all that started happening.
Sure.
Right. And I'm only saying this like Ty said, he was sick, you know, but he was sick. Because that was his issue.
Yeah. And I know
he was on drugs. Yeah. He was on drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his mind was never right. Mm-hmm. When you refound the love in you, you decided I've had enough. And you moved on. And I think you spoke to this point. I was going to say this earlier. You have, in order to make a relationship work, you have to love the you in you. You got to turn that around. You got to understand. You got to understand yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have to observe what you're doing, and you have to really get into you and say, you know what? This is what I will tolerate. This is what I would not tolerate. If God is the reason why I'm here, and this man is not treating me the way I'm supposed to be treated, then you need to tell yourself that at this particular point, I've had enough. Let me put up my walls. Let me cut off all of this, because for me to continue to allow this man to continue to do this, I'm allowing him this. You said enabler earlier, right? Mm-hmm. You're allowing all this to happen for all these years. You can stop. You can prevent that from happening, but you have to be strong enough to stop.
Well, I think say,
that's what happened.
Excuse me, that my motivation was my kids, because I have a son and 2 daughters. And so I felt that I was showing my son it was all right to treat a woman that way. And I was treating telling my daughters it's all right to accept that type of behavior. I think, and I'm gonna be clear, I'm gonna be truthful. I think if it had only been me, I probably would still be there. You see what I'm saying? But I thank God that I had them, and they gave me the strength to say, no, I can't continue to show them this. It wasn't good for me, period. Okay.
Right.
But they gave me the strength to say, I can't do this to them. They didn't ask to be here. I brought them into you know what I'm saying? I met their dad. I married him, and I had them with him. But I wanted to be better for them. And so that was my motivation.
You've come out.
Well, I'm glad you found the motivation for yourself. Because I think that's, at the end of the day, we all have to honestly look at ourselves in the mirror.
Yes.
And the toughest decisions sometimes to make are those decisions that's going to render us alone. Mm-hmm. Those decisions that's going to take us out of a familiar situation in this relationship that is also familiar. Yeah, we have our bad times, but our good times are good times.
And it was scary. But it was scary. You know, this was the only man I had ever known. Seriously, known.
Yes.
And you know, I met him. I met him in church. He was the only man I ever known. So I was just like, oh my God. You know, he had molded me into the woman that, you know what I'm saying, that he wanted me to be. I ain't know nothing. I was green. So now I'm out here, you know, trying to date. But let me tell you, I took some time. I got some counseling because I wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? And then I got with the wrong women. You know, they said, my girl, go to the club with me. You can't be no man in no club. You can, but that ain't gonna be the right one. And I wasn't used to people telling me, girl, you look nice. I'm like grinning, y'all. Oh my God, he likes me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't realizing that's what they tell every woman. You know what I'm saying? Girl, you fine. Girl, you cute. I'm like, wow, So they had to school me. Girl, that's what they do. I was like, for real? I'm telling you, y'all. Green. You know what I'm saying? It was a learning process for me. You don't just take people at face value. You gotta vet them out. I'm like, you gotta really? Just because he's saying you pretty, he don't really mean that. No, he wants some. I was like, really? I mean, it was a learning process.
And
well, you are pretty.
and Michelle,
I'm pretty though.
But Michelle, you hit a real good point there. And I'm gonna tell you something, just being transparent. A lot of people do need help and they don't get help. And for me, after my divorce, I was devastated because I felt like I had put my all into it. Even during the times when, I put my all into it. And I didn't think I could ever be treated that bad, giving my all, sacrificing my all. And so after my divorce, I was to the hell with women. I'm going to treat y'all the way I treat y'all, And so, but I realized, how can I say I love God, but still turn around and say I don't love his daughter? And I knew I needed to get the help. So I went and got the help and got some therapy help. And once I got that help, that put me, I had to reposition myself as a man. I had to recenter and get balanced. Number one, love God, get that straight, love myself, and also forgiveness. I had to forgive myself for the things I know I did wrong, but I also had to give her and everybody else who did wrong previously. And so the question I want to ask you to, what is the disconnect with, speaking for, what is the disconnect? Because there's a lot of women who, like I said earlier, they go from one relationship to the next, and they are not, for whatever reason, the forgiveness part is missing. But a lot of times, these are the same in church, shouting, running down the aisle. And so, what I'm telling the truth, Michelle. So, what message can you share with women to really kind of tighten up so they can really, what, I do need to get some help. I don't need to get around my single friends who are going to tell me men and dogs and
love themselves. They have to love themselves. If you don't love yourself, you will allow anything and everything to happen. Some people they don't want to be alone, so they that companionship. You know what I'm saying? They'll take it from a dog, and literally. You know what I'm saying? So until you love yourself, you're not going to want better. You're not going to strive for better. You got to first find that self-love. You got to forgive yourself and move on and heal. A lot of times people don't heal. It's a saying that to get over an old ex, you got to get under a new one. That is not true. You know what I'm saying? Y'all heard that? Okay.
Yeah.
You need to heal. You really do. You need to take some time. People don't want to take no time. They jump from one relationship to the next. You ain't healed from the distrust from the other one. You haven't really forgiven that person. Now you want to check his phone, phone calls and where you going. That's headache right there. If we got to do all that, it's already a bad foundation. If I got that much distrust for me, and it's not even you, I don't even know you well enough to distrust you. You know what I'm saying? It's because I got some internal things that I have not been healed from that I need to work on. Now, if you are a dog, I'm going to have some discernment and I'm going to see that. I'm not saying disregard certain things, ladies. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that sometimes, because of issues in your past and you have not dealt with those, then yeah, you have a wall up. You know what I'm saying?
But if we if we as people, women, men, both ways, but women, if we don't stand for something, we've been falling for everything. So you have to have a standard for yourself first. That's the loving yourself part. You have to set a standard for yourself. What it is you're going to accept, what it is you're not going to accept, what it is you deem feasible and not feasible. You need to think about some of these things prior to meeting people. You need to create scenarios in your head about certain things, certain conversations about things, because you've had a few examples that you could set yourself up for to know if it ever happens again, how you would respond or react. At some point you get to that you should know which road you want to travel down now. So this is all in the loving yourself, respecting yourself, respecting your self-worth and who you are as an individual, what you represent as an individual. If you have those standards, you have to begin to talk to yourself. I talk to myself and I answer. And I ain't crazy sometimes, but so I talk to myself and I answer because I am my best revelator, and I'm very introspective. You have to be introspective, and you have to be honest with yourself. When you know you just got taken for a ride by some dude and he just told you, and then he dropped you off at home and you never heard from him again, be honest with yourself and say, I was a hot mess and I shouldn't have done that. Yes. Don't feel like, well, girl, I sure did it felt good. I got mine. I hope he got his. No.
Exactly.
That, I mean, because then you went home and you cried. We could have cried together had you been honest and said, I did it again. Because I'm looking for love. Mm-hmm. And I want some affection.
I'm afraid to be lonely. And all of that. You are so right.
And
are you there, Divorce? Are you there?
Pardon me? Can you see me?
No, I can see all you. Oh, I can see Thais.
I can't see Michelle, and I can't see Divorce. You might need to refresh.
Oh. I think it's you.
No.
We see everybody.
We could.
If we refresh,
we can see Mike. And listen, I'm sure your viewers can see this book. I've got my book up. It's called "What Real Women Want from Real Men."
That's right.
Now, these 7 women on the cover of the book, they symbolize the 7 women that I've dated in my life. Now, I want to talk more about that at a different time. But what real women want from real men, I had to actually put this book on hold quite some time ago because a more popular book came out soon as I was 3/4 of the way finished. And there's been a couple movies afterwards. So this book is finally going to be available this year, and I'm so proud of this because it's actually 6 years in the making.
Oh, awesome. So Michelle, tell me if you agree.
The dress point.
Oh,
now Mike's gone. All right, ladies. It has been an absolute pleasure.
It has.
I think
he's gonna come back, but before Mike is gone, Michelle, I have to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Because I think real women want a man who is more sensitive, more loving, more nurturing, more conscientious, more sensitive than them. Because men
depends on the age of the woman.
Yeah, depend on the woman.
Depends on the age and the maturity level of that woman. Depending on the maturity level of the
man. But I didn't say not an assertive man. I didn't say someone who's not an assertive.
You were talking. No, I'm not talking about a man. I'm talking about the woman that you said want that kind of a man. I'm talking about that woman. It depends on the maturity level of that woman. Not all women want the same.
I said I think real mature women. I believe mature women, and I'm asking Michelle. I think, like I said earlier, we can't make any blanket statements. Of course, different strokes for different folks. But I think if we are honest, the majority, if we understand about getting along and understanding how to get along, because the only way you can get along is to have somebody who is peaceable and agreeable sometimes, and who does not sweat the small stuff, which is small with, who does not sweat the small stuff. So, Michelle, I think, it's just my personal opinion, that women would like to have a man who understands his manhood yet can be sensitive, who can be loving and nurturing, who's more loving, more nurturing, more kinder, sweeter, sensitive than they are, because that's the provision that he.
Oh, Hell no.
Oh my goodness. She fell out.
Come on back, girl.
I know, right?
Women don't want that. Come on back.
Well, there she goes. Like she coming back.
There we go.
Come on back.
You know,
Come on
wait,
back.
that's you know you're preaching the gospel.
Well, women don't want all that.
How you know? You lost your testosterone. I'm asking Michelle. What?
No, but I'm a sensitive person, and
A woman does want those qualities, Ty. I got to agree with that. But they want the strongness and all that, but they do want you to, we don't want you barking at us. I want you to be sensitive to me.
We don't want you to be
women,
overbearing.
we have feelings. So if you tell me something, you can't bark it at me. You can't say, girl, you look ugly in that dress. You got to say, honey, I think that red dress is a little better on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's y'all's, it's how you bring my meal to the table. I can bring, if I bring you a steak and baked potatoes and some dessert, and I bring it on a pretty pantry along with a pretty package, you're going to eat that meal real good. But if I bring it on Michelle, a paper plate, the glass is all cloudy and dirty, sweaty and funky, you're going to look at me funny.
But Michelle, when it comes to what a woman wants, we could do a whole week-long marathon on that right there, and they'll still never get boring. But we're getting close to the end, and definitely I want to give a quick chance to each one of you to share how the viewers can reach out to you. And I'm going to start with you real quick, Thais. Can you please, in 15 seconds, share with the viewers how they can contact you, to reach out to you?
Well, first, let me just say, Michael, thank you so much for having me on your show this evening. And it has been a pleasure communicating with your guests, Michelle and Devortre. I, really appreciated everyone's comments. And thank you so much for just enlightening me with your comments. But Thais Doremus, 586-823-2655. I do market a wonderful product. If you're interested in knowing more about that product, if I said anything that may have piqued your interest on any level, then that is my phone number. You can contact me at that number anytime.
Michelle?
Hi, everyone. You can reach me at www.michellearoberts.com. I am the author, actually, of 5 books. I'm going to put my links over there. But my latest book is Dr. Shell's 100 Tips on Dating. And it's a strategy if you're newly single or a veteran on the dating scene. These simple tips will enhance your dating skills and your knowledge. Dating can be fun and intriguing. You just need to be wise and armed with the tips outlined in this booklet. I'm also on Facebook at Michelle A. Roberts INC, Twitter, M.A. Roberts INC. And it's been a pleasure, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. Devortre, it's nice to meet you, Mr. McMurray.
Pleasure is all mine.
And Ty, we need to collaborate on some things, girl.
Okay.
Well, there needs to be a versus VS right on the screen the next time, Michael.
That's right.
Yeah, we need to do this again. We need to have a part 2.
Yeah,
we need to have a part 2.
Really get it in, but it was great information from the women, obviously. But we didn't. The men didn't go in. Is it me? My time now to close?
Yeah, it's your time. Your time. Yeah.
First of all, one word. Seriously though, Devortre. That's how you can reach me. Google Devortre. Whatever comes up, that's me. And then when the book comes out and the sitcom comes out and all that comes out, then you guys will know. Just Devortre. Google Devortre. Devortre, not Devortre, not Devortney, but Devortre. And that's about it.
Can you get a spelling on that, please? Can you give us a spelling on that, Mr. McMurray? I can see it, but I don't know who else can.
Okay, it's DEVORTREY. 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 It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show, Mike. I really appreciate it. Next time we're gonna cuss like Michelle.
I definitely want to thank all of the listeners out here tonight. Appreciate you for coming on, because truly this was a night with the heavyweights, people with books, people who are deep into understand relationships, who have endured being in the fire, and they have a whole lot to say. And I thank everyone for coming out and listening. Definitely, if you want to get contact with me, I am Michael Muse, the Overcomer Coach. And as you can see, contact me, Rise and Burn, how to break free from the root of your fears. And definitely, the one thing I want to share with everyone tonight, you need to love God, love yourself, and make sure you fight to love the person you say you love. And I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and you have a great night. I'm sorry. You got to reach me at michaelmusenow.com. Reach me at michaelmusenow.com. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you. You came definitely with a bunch of knowledge and information. Definitely with information. Sure, everybody going through some things. They say, you know what? I love myself. I can lose the weight, and I can achieve. I can conquer. And Thais, when it comes to you, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Definitely for your wealth of knowledge and your experience and everything you bring to the table. And Mr. DeVortre, I appreciate you, my brother. I mean, you are truly a superstar. Michelle Tice, he's working on a sitcom right now. He's going to be working on a movie by the end of this year. He had that book out. So definitely he is a person you definitely want to reach out to and Google him also. So everyone, thank you for coming out to the Mike Muse Show tonight. It's been a great pleasure. And I'll see you again next week.
Safe in the house for the men.
They all my life. All my life.
All life.
I can even sing a little bit. Wait a minute.
I'm so done.